You know, I've been sitting with this name for a long time now. Mystery Babylon. Just those two words together. There's something about them that unsettles you, and I don't think that's random. People hear it and they get uneasy or deeply curious, sometimes both at the same time. And I think the reason it keeps pulling at people even after 2,000 years is that nobody has ever felt fully satisfied with the answer. Like we're reaching for something just a little out of reach. And honestly, I used to feel the same way. I'd read the commentaries, I'd sit through the sermons, and I'd walk away with pieces, but never the whole picture. It always felt like it stopped right before the part I actually needed. For most of church history, the answer was Rome, that empire that fed Christians to lions, that crushed the early church under its boot. And when you read the book of Revelation 17, it actually fits. A great city on 7 hills reigning over the kings of the earth. Peter even used Babylon as a code name for Rome in one of his letters, writing from inside that empire without getting himself killed for it. So Rome, okay. Except the Roman Empire fell in 476 AD. And every time someone reads Revelation 18 today, even now, it doesn't read like ancient history. It reads like this morning's news. So the theory shifts, and a lot of serious people today, not fringe folks, real students of the word, look at the United States. And I get it. I understand the argument. You read about a system whose wealth makes the whole world's merchants rich, whose cultural reach touches every nation, whose influence finds its way into every home. And you think, well, that does sound familiar. But even that doesn't close it, because the text calls her the mother of harlots, not just another corrupt power. The mother, the source, something older and wider than any one country could ever be. What if we've been asking the wrong question this whole time? We keep searching for where Babylon is. What if the question that actually changes everything is not where, but what? That question took me back a long way, further back than Rome, further back than Revelation, all the way back to the book of Genesis 11, to a plane, to a tower, to the very first time this name shows up in Scripture. You know the story. After the flood, everyone still had one language, one people, one voice. And they got together and said, I want you to hear the actual words. They said, let us make a name for ourselves. That was the whole point. Not survival, not shelter. A name, glory, something that would outlast them. And God saw what was happening. What he said next has always stopped me. He said that with one language and one shared purpose, nothing they propose to do will be withheld from them. That's not about buildings, that's about something deeper. What people can become when they're all moving in the same direction, without God. So he confused the language, scattered them, and the place got a name from what happened there. In Hebrew, Bavel, what we call Babylon. Now here's the part most teachers move right past. They tell the story and keep going. But the meaning, the real meaning, is sitting right there inside the word itself. The Hebrew root underneath the name Bavel is Balal, and Balal doesn't just mean confused, disoriented, or lost. It means to mix, to blend things together that were never meant to be blended, to mingle until the original is no longer recognizable. So the name God puts on it is simple: confusion by mixing. That's what he stamped into it from the very start. That's what it's been from the beginning. I had to ask myself when I saw this, what did the builders call it? What was their own name for the same project? But in their language, Akkadian, they called it Bab Elim, the gate of God, the gateway to the gods. Just sit with that. And the builders said, "We are the entrance to heaven. We are the ones who can bring the divine within human reach." And God looked at that same project and said, "No, I know what this is. This is confusion. This is mixing. This is what happens when human ambition puts on spiritual clothing and calls itself holy." And I'll be honest, I didn't like that at first, because it started hitting a little too close. What we're watching right now, in our time, isn't a new project. It's the same one. Different materials, same blueprint. That's the mystery. That has always been the mystery. Not that Babylon is hard to find. It's that Babylon doesn't look like what it is. It presents itself as enlightenment, as unity, as progress. And underneath all of it, underneath the golden cup, the fine clothing, is the oldest lie in human history: that you can reach God on your own terms. Babylon isn't where you live. It's what you've learned to live with. When I finally understood that, I stopped looking for a city, because this doesn't need a location. That mixing, the sacred blended with the self-serving, God's truth softened with whatever makes us comfortable. It has no fixed address. She sits on many waters, the text says, and the angel explains it plainly. The waters are peoples and nations and languages, all of them. She's not in one country. You start to see it everywhere. She's in the way the world thinks, a world that's forgotten who made it. And that's why Revelation gives us a command that, when you really hear it, is one of the most personal in the whole Bible. Come out of her, my people. Not a country to leave, not a geography to escape. Come out of the way you've learned to see the world, a way of mixing, a way of quietly, slowly making peace with what the world values until you can't even remember what you used to believe. Think about what that means for your children, for your grandchildren. The mixing never announces itself. It never has. It arrives slowly, dressed in ordinary language, wearing the face of progress. And one generation later, a family barely recognizes what it used to believe. If it didn't come all at once, would any of us have noticed it moving through our own homes? Because that's what Babylon does. It doesn't replace, it mingles. It's not leave your faith, it's keep your faith and add this. It's patient, it's slow. Most of the time, you don't even notice it happening. And it never feels like losing ground. It feels like growing up. That's what makes it Babylon. That's what makes it the mother. Not the violence, the seduction. The cup that looks beautiful, full of things that were never meant to be together. Be honest, after hearing this, does the mixing feel like something far away or closer to your own home than you expected? So where does that leave us? I think it leaves us with an honest question, not about Rome, not about America, but about our own hearts, about what we've quietly let blend together over the years, what we call our faith, and what we actually trust, where we actually go when things fall apart. Coming out of Babylon starts there, in the quiet, with an honest look at what's been mixed. That's not easy work, but it's the only kind that lasts. And the reason we can do that work without fear, the reason it's worth doing it all, is that Babylon falls. That's the promise running all the way through Revelation. This whole system, built on confusion, on mixing, on people trying to crown themselves, it falls. And something unmixed, something pure, something that can't be shaken takes its place. That's not a threat to carry. That's something you can finally rest in, if you know whose you are.